I'm about to show you specific natural remedies and dietary changes that can help protect your eyes from clouding and preserve your vision clarity as you age. Many people believe that developing cataracts is an inevitable part of getting older, but new insights suggest your daily choices play a much bigger role than genetics alone in determining the health of your eyes. I have seen patients stabilize their vision and reduce eye strain simply by changing what they eat and how they protect their eyes from environmental damage. I recall one gentleman who was told that surgery was his only future option, yet he managed to delay that need for over a decade through strict, specific nutritional changes and lifestyle adjustments. If you have noticed a slight blurring of colors, difficulty seeing clearly at night, or faint halos appearing around streetlights, these are not just normal signs of aging, but indicators that your lens is currently under stress. It is crucial to understand that your standard medical checkup often waits until the damage is significant enough to require surgery, rather than giving you the preventive tools to stop the progression early. Before we begin, a critical disclaimer. The information I'm sharing today is strictly for educational purposes and should not be considered medical advice. I am not your personal physician and cannot provide individualized medical guidance through this video. Never stop, start, or change any medication without first consulting with your doctor. Eye health is complex, and sudden changes in vision can signal conditions that require immediate professional attention. Never ignore professional medical advice because of something you learned in this video. Every person's health situation is unique, and what I discuss here may not apply to your specific circumstances. The strategies and physiological explanations I share are meant to help you have informed conversations with your ophthalmologist or primary care physician, not to replace professional medical care. Always work closely with your healthcare provider to make decisions about your vision management. Let's start with 1. Consume cooked dark leafy greens with a healthy fat. Your first step is to prioritize the consumption of cooked dark leafy greens, specifically spinach, kale, or collard greens, at least 3 to 4 times a week. These vegetables contain high concentrations of two specific nutrients, lutein and zeaxanthin, which are absolutely essential for the health of your eye lens. Unlike other vitamins that circulate generally throughout the body, these two compounds specifically accumulate in the lens of the eye and the retina. They perform a very specific physical function, which is absorbing excess light energy before it can damage the sensitive proteins in your eyes. When you consume these greens regularly, you are essentially building a physical barrier within the eye tissue itself that shields the cells from high-energy light waves that cause oxidation and clouding. Let me tell you about Martha, a 72-year-old woman that believed she was doing enough for her eyes because she ate carrots every day. However, she was still experiencing significant glare sensitivity, and her doctor noted early signs of clouding. She made the mistake of focusing only on beta-carotene while neglecting the specific greens her lens needed. Once she corrected this by adding a cup of cooked spinach to her daily lunch, she reported that her eyes felt less tired in bright sunlight and her vision felt sharper within a few months. The reason this specific action is so effective lies in the biology of the lens itself. The lens of your eye is made of proteins that need to stay perfectly arranged to let light pass through clearly. Over time, exposure to sunlight and blue light causes these proteins to unravel and clump together, which is what creates the cloudy obstruction known as a cataract. Lutein and zeaxanthin sacrifice themselves to neutralize the free radicals generated by this light exposure. If you do not have enough of these nutrients stored in your eye tissue, the light attacks the lens proteins directly. Most seniors are severely deficient in these specific compounds because the modern diet does not include enough concentrated greens. It is not enough to simply eat a salad occasionally. The volume and frequency must be consistent to build up the levels in the eye tissue. To do this correctly, you must cook the greens rather than eating them raw. Cooking breaks down the tough cellular walls of the plant, making the nutrients much more available for your body to absorb. Steaming or sautéing spinach and kale releases the lutein so it can enter your bloodstream. Furthermore, these nutrients are fat-soluble, meaning they cannot be absorbed without the presence of dietary fat. You should always eat your greens with a teaspoon of olive oil, a slice of avocado, or alongside a piece of fatty fish. If you eat dry toast and plain steamed spinach, you will absorb very little of the protective compounds. A simple method is to wilt a large handful of spinach into your morning eggs or have a side of sautéed kale with olive oil and lemon with your dinner. It is important to note that if you are on blood-thinning medication, you must consult your doctor before significantly increasing your intake of greens due to the vitamin K content. Consistency is the key to this remedy. You cannot eat greens once a week and expect protection. The eye needs a constant supply to maintain the barrier against light damage. This supports the long-term clarity of the lens. 2. Increase intake of vitamin C-rich foods. The second strategy is to actively consume foods high in vitamin C, such as red bell peppers, oranges, kiwi, or strawberries, on a daily basis. The fluid that surrounds the lens of your eye, called the aqueous humor, contains a higher concentration of vitamin C than almost any other fluid in the body. This is not a coincidence. The eye concentrates this vitamin because it serves as the primary antioxidant shield for the lens. The lens does not have a blood supply of its own, so it relies entirely on the surrounding fluid to provide protection against oxidative stress. When the levels of vitamin C in this fluid drop, the proteins in the lens become vulnerable to instant damage from oxidation, which leads to the formation of cataracts. Robert, who is 68, came to realize that his reliance on a generic multivitamin was not providing the results he hoped for. He suffered from chronic eye fatigue, and his vision seemed to be deteriorating faster than his peers. His mistake was assuming a synthetic supplement could replace the high absorption rates of whole foods. When he corrected this by eating a raw red bell pepper every day, he noticed a significant reduction in eye strain, and his ophthalmologist noted that his eye pressure and health remained stable at his next checkup. Understanding the direct connection between dietary vitamin C and eye health is vital. Oxidation is a chemical process where unstable molecules steal electrons from your healthy cells, causing damage. In the eye, this damage manifests as the yellowing and hardening of the lens. Vitamin C neutralizes these unstable molecules effectively. However, the body cannot store vitamin C for long periods, and it is water-soluble, meaning it is flushed out of your system quickly. This requires a daily replenishment strategy. Studies have suggested that the vitamin C found in whole foods is often better utilized by the body than high-dose isolated supplements, which can sometimes be excreted before they reach the eye tissues. To implement this effectively, aim to eat your vitamin C sources raw whenever possible. Heat destroys vitamin C very quickly, so cooking peppers or boiling broccoli significantly reduces their benefit for your eyes. A simple routine is to slice half a red bell pepper and eat it as a snack, or add it to a salad. Oranges and grapefruits are excellent, but be mindful of the sugar content if you are monitoring your blood glucose. Berries are another wonderful option, because they provide vitamin C along with other beneficial plant compounds. Try to spread your intake throughout the day, rather than having it all at one meal, as this helps keep the levels in your blood and subsequently in the eye fluid stable. A caution here is for those with a history of kidney stones or stomach sensitivity. You should increase your intake gradually and stick to food sources rather than high-dose supplements to avoid irritation. By maintaining high levels of vitamin C in your diet, you ensure that the fluid bathing your lens is capable of neutralizing damage before it starts. This creates a chemical environment in the eye that resists clouding. 3. Prioritize omega-3 fatty acids from fish and seeds. The third vital action is to incorporate sources of omega-3 fatty acids into your meals at least twice a week, focusing on fatty fish like salmon or plant sources like walnuts and flax seeds. Inflammation is a silent contributor to many age-related diseases, including the degradation of eye health. Chronic low-level inflammation can damage the delicate tissues of the eye and disrupt the production of tears. A healthy tear film is essential because it provides the first layer of optical clarity and oxygen to the front of the eye. If your eyes are chronically dry and inflamed, the lens does not receive the consistent environment it needs to remain clear and flexible. Omega-3 fatty acids are the most potent natural anti-inflammatory nutrients available to you. Eleanor, a 75-year-old woman, suffered from terrible dry eyes that made her vision constantly blurry, leading her to believe her cataracts were worsening rapidly. Her mistake was following a strict low-fat diet for years, which deprived her body of essential oils. After she corrected this by adding a portion of salmon to her dinner twice a week and sprinkling flax seeds on her breakfast, her dry eye symptoms improved dramatically. The lubrication improved her overall visual acuity, and her doctor confirmed that reducing the dryness reduced the stress on her eyes. The mechanism here involves the oil glands in your eyelids, known as meibomian glands. These glands secrete an oil that coats the surface of your eye and prevents tears from evaporating. Omega-3 fatty acids improve the quality of this oil, making it more fluid and effective. When the eye is properly lubricated, light enters smoothly. Furthermore, systemic inflammation throughout the body, can accelerate the aging of all tissues, including the lens. By keeping inflammation low with a diet rich in healthy fats, you slow down the biological clock of your eyes. The lens proteins are less likely to become damaged and cross-linked if the surrounding environment is calm and non-inflamed. To do this, look for cold water fatty fish such as salmon, mackerel, or sardines. These contain the active forms of omega-3s known as EPA and DHA, which the body uses readily. If you prefer plant-based options, walnuts, chia seeds, and ground flax seeds are excellent sources of ALA, which the body can convert. A practical habit is to have a serving of fish on Mondays and Thursdays. For breakfast, you can keep a jar of ground flax seeds in the refrigerator and add a tablespoon to oatmeal or yogurt. It is important to buy ground flax seeds or grind them yourself, as whole seeds often pass through the body undigested. If you are taking blood-thinning medication, speak with your doctor about the amount of omega-3s you consume, as they have a natural blood-thinning effect. This dietary change does not just help with cataracts, it supports the entire structure of the eye. This ensures the physical environment of the lens remains moist and nourished. 4. Maintain consistent hydration levels. The fourth remedy is to drink water consistently throughout the day, aiming for steady intake rather than large volumes all at once. It is easy to overlook, but the lens of your eye is composed largely of water and proteins. The clarity of the lens depends entirely on the precise arrangement of these proteins. When the body becomes dehydrated, the fluid balance in the eye is disrupted. If the lens loses hydration, the proteins can begin to fold incorrectly and precipitate, which means they come out of solution and form solid clumps. These clumps are the beginning of a cataract. Chronic dehydration effectively concentrates the proteins in the lens, increasing the likelihood that they will bond together and cause cloudiness. David, who is 80 years old, admitted that he rarely drank water because he simply did not feel thirsty, a common issue as we age because our thirst signals diminish. His mistake was waiting for thirst to dictate his intake. He corrected this by setting a routine to drink a small glass of water every 2 hours. The improvement was subtle but significant. He reported fewer headaches and noticed that his vision fluctuated less throughout the day. His eyes felt less gritty, and his overall energy levels improved, allowing him to stay more active. You must understand that by the time you feel thirsty, your body is already in a state of dehydration. For the eye, which relies on a delicate balance of fluids to maintain its shape and clarity, this constant cycle of dehydration and rehydration creates stress. The vitreous gel, which fills the back of the eye, can also shrink due to dehydration, pulling on the retina and causing floaters. Keeping the body fully hydrated ensures that the aqueous humor, the fluid nourishing the lens, is replenished regularly and can effectively flush out waste products that accumulate from metabolic processes. Without this flushing mechanism, toxic byproducts hang around the lens longer, contributing to damage. To implement this, you do not need to carry a gallon jug of water. Instead, adopt the habit of sip, don't gulp. Keep a glass of water near your favorite chair or on the kitchen counter. Take a few sips every time you pass by or during commercial breaks if you are watching television. Herbal teas count towards this intake, but try to limit diuretic drinks like strong coffee or alcohol, as they can increase fluid loss. If you struggle with the taste of plain water, adding a slice of lemon or cucumber can make it more palatable without adding sugar. The goal is to keep your urine pale yellow. If it is dark, you are not providing your eyes with the fluid they need. There is a caution for those with heart failure or kidney issues who are on fluid restrictions. You must adhere to the limits set by your physician. For everyone else, steady hydration is perhaps the simplest and most cost-effective way to support lens health. This maintains the solubility of the proteins in your eyes. 5. Incorporate bilberry or anthocyanin-rich foods. The fifth specific remedy is to introduce bilberry or other dark-skinned berries into your diet. Bilberries, which are close relatives of the blueberry, are rich in a specific type of antioxidant called anthocyanins. These compounds are what give the berries their deep blue or purple color. They are particularly effective for eye health because they have a unique ability to improve microcirculation. The tiny capillaries that feed the structures of the eye are extremely small and fragile. If blood flow through these vessels is compromised, the delivery of nutrients to the eye is reduced, and the removal of waste products is slowed down. Anthocyanins strengthen the walls of these blood vessels and improve the flow of blood, ensuring that the eye receives a steady supply of oxygen and nutrients. Sarah, a 65-year-old retired teacher, began experiencing difficulty with her night vision. She found herself dreading evening drives because the road seemed dimmer and headlights caused more glare than before. Her mistake was assuming this was just a normal part of aging that she had to accept. After researching natural options, she corrected her diet by adding a half cup of blueberries to her breakfast every morning and occasionally drinking pure bilberry juice. Over 6 months, she noticed a distinct improvement in her ability to adapt to darkness and felt more confident driving at dusk. Her night blindness symptoms became less intrusive, suggesting better retinal and lens support. The science behind this involves rhodopsin, a protein in the eye that is essential for vision in low-light conditions. Anthocyanins have been shown to help speed up the regeneration of rhodopsin. While this primarily helps the retina, the improved blood flow benefits the entire ocular system, including the ciliary body, which produces the fluid that nourishes the lens. When circulation is robust, the eye is better equipped to repair minor damage and maintain the transparency of the lens. Furthermore, these antioxidants reduce the fragility of the capillaries, preventing tiny hemorrhages or leakage that can damage eye tissues over time. To practice this, aim for fresh or frozen wild blueberries, blackberries, or black currants. Wild blueberries are often smaller and have a more intense color than the cultivated varieties, meaning they have a higher concentration of anthocyanins. You can easily blend them into a smoothie or eat them as a dessert. If you cannot find fresh berries, a high-quality bilberry extract supplement is an option, but whole foods are always the primary recommendation because they contain fiber and other synergistic nutrients. Be cautious if you are on medication for diabetes, as large amounts of berries can naturally lower blood sugar, and you may need to monitor your levels. Also, berries are acidic, so if you have sensitive teeth, rinse your mouth with water after eating them. This simple addition supports the intricate plumbing that keeps your eyes alive and functional. This enhances the delivery system for all other nutrients. 6. Stabilize blood sugar with low glycemic eating. The sixth strategy is to actively stabilize your blood sugar levels by choosing low glycemic foods. This is arguably one of the most powerful things you can do for your eyes, even if you are not diabetic. High blood sugar is a direct poison to the lens of the eye. When there is excess sugar, glucose, in your blood, it can seep into the lens. Once there, it undergoes a chemical reaction with the proteins in the lens, a process called glycation. This reaction creates advanced glycation end products, which effectively turn the clear proteins into a cloudy, stiff substance. This is why people with diabetes are at a much higher risk for developing cataracts at a younger age. Even spikes in blood sugar from a high-carbohydrate meal can contribute to this cumulative damage over years. James, a 70-year-old man, was pre-diabetic but didn't take it seriously because he didn't feel sick. He enjoyed sweet pastries every afternoon with his coffee. His mistake was thinking that because he wasn't on insulin, his sugar intake didn't matter. When his vision began to blur rapidly, his doctor explained that the swelling in his lens was due to fluctuating sugar levels. James corrected his habit by swapping the pastries for a handful of almonds or an apple with peanut butter. Not only did his blood sugar numbers improve, but his vision stabilized, and the progression of his lens clouding slowed significantly. The lens is extremely sensitive to changes in sugar levels. When sugar enters the lens, it can also be converted into sorbitol, a sugar alcohol that draws water into the lens. This causes the lens to swell and disrupts the precise arrangement of fibers needed for clear vision. Constant swelling and shrinking as sugar levels rise and fall stress the lens architecture, eventually leading to permanent opacity. By keeping your blood sugar stable, you prevent this chemical attack on your lens proteins. You essentially stop the browning reaction that cooks the clarity out of your eyes. To do this, focus on pairing carbohydrates with protein and healthy fats. Never eat naked carbs. For example, instead of just eating toast, eat toast with eggs. Instead of just eating a bowl of rice, have a smaller portion of rice with plenty of vegetables and chicken. Avoid sugary drinks entirely. They are the fastest way to spike your blood sugar. Choose whole grains like oats or quinoa over refined white flour products. The fiber in whole foods slows down the absorption of sugar, preventing the dangerous spikes that damage the eye. A caution here is that you do not need to eliminate carbohydrates entirely, as your body needs fuel. The goal is balance and quality. Avoiding the roller coaster of high and low blood sugar is the objective. This prevents the chemical stiffening of the lens. 7. Adopt strict UV protection habits. The seventh remedy is a physical one, adopting strict habits for UV protection. While we often think of remedies as things we ingest, blocking the source of damage is just as potent as trying to repair it. Ultraviolet UV rays from the sun are high-energy radiation. When these rays hit the lens of your eye, they generate free radicals that attack the proteins and lipids. It is a cumulative effect, much like a sunburn on your skin, but the lens cannot slough off dead cells like your skin can. The damage builds up layer by layer over decades. Many seniors have significant sun damage that contributes to cortical cataracts, a specific type of clouding that starts at the edges of the lens and works its way inward. Margaret, 78, was an avid gardener who spent hours outside every day. She never wore sunglasses because she felt they were fashionable accessories for the beach, not for working in the dirt. Her mistake was underestimating the power of daily incremental exposure. When she began to lose the ability to see fine details in her flowers, she realized the cost of that exposure. She corrected her behavior by purchasing a wide-brimmed hat and a pair of prescription sunglasses with 100% UVA/UVB protection. While she couldn't undo the past damage, she prevented further injury, preserving the vision she had left for her reading and needlework. The mechanism is oxidative stress caused by radiation. The lens proteins are durable, but they have a breaking point. UV light effectively cooks the proteins, causing them to lose their transparency and turn yellow or brown. This is a defense mechanism. The lens absorbs the UV light to protect the even more sensitive retina at the back of the eye. However, in doing so, the lens sacrifices its own clarity. By wearing protection, you are externally blocking the radiation so your lens doesn't have to absorb it. To do this effectively, you need sunglasses that are labeled UV 400 or 100% UV protection. Darker lenses do not necessarily offer better protection. The UV coating is clear, so even lightly tinted glasses can be effective if they have the right rating. Wear them even on cloudy days, as UV rays penetrate through clouds. Additionally, wear a hat with a brim of at least 3 inches. This blocks sunlight from entering around the top and sides of your glasses. Make this a non-negotiable part of your going outside routine, just like putting on shoes. There is no caution here other than to ensure your sunglasses do not distort your vision or make it too dark to see hazards like steps or curbs. Safety is paramount. This creates an external shield that saves your internal antioxidants for other tasks. 8. Minimize toxin exposure and air irritants. The final strategy is to actively minimize your exposure to environmental toxins, specifically cigarette smoke and industrial pollution. Smoking is one of the most significant modifiable risk factors for cataracts. The chemicals in tobacco smoke increase the number of free radicals in your body exponentially. These toxins circulate in your blood and reach the eye, depleting the lens of its antioxidant reserves, like vitamin C and lutein, very rapidly. Even if you do not smoke, secondhand smoke or living in an area with high air pollution can have a similar, albeit slower, effect. The heavy metals and combustion byproducts in polluted air can settle on the surface of the eye and be absorbed, causing chronic irritation and oxidative stress. Thomas, 69, did not smoke, but he spent his retirement in a workshop doing woodworking and metal repairs without adequate ventilation or eye protection. He lived in a valley where smog often settled. His mistake was ignoring the environmental load on his body. He constantly rubbed his eyes, introducing more irritants. He corrected his environment by installing a high-quality air purifier in his home and workshop and always wearing sealed safety goggles when working with dust. He also made a point to wash his face and eyes with cool water after coming indoors. This reduced the chronic redness and irritation he felt, and his doctor noted that his eye health was remarkably stable given his age. The connection here is the free radical load. Your body has a limited budget of antioxidants to fight damage. If you flood your system with toxins from smoke or pollution, your body uses up all its vitamin C and enzymes trying to neutralize those poisons in the lungs and liver, leaving very little for the eyes. By reducing the incoming toxic load, you spare your nutritional defenses so they can focus on maintaining your eyes. Cadmium and lead, often found in cigarette smoke, have been found to accumulate in the lenses of people with cataracts, directly interfering with the enzymes that keep the lens clear. To do this, if you smoke, the single best thing you can do for your eyes is to stop. If you do not smoke, avoid places where others do. In your home, consider an air purifier with a HEPA filter to trap fine particles. When checking air quality reports, if the pollution levels are high, try to stay indoors or wear wraparound glasses if you must go out to prevent particles from blowing into your eyes. Avoid using harsh chemical cleaners in poorly ventilated spaces. Vinegar and baking soda are safer alternatives that release fewer volatile compounds. A caution here is to avoid whitening eye drops to clear up redness caused by irritation. These drops constrict blood vessels and can actually reduce the flow of oxygen and nutrients to the eye if used chronically. Instead, use preservative-free artificial tears to flush out irritants. This reduces the chemical burden your eyes have to fight against daily. Conclusion: preventing cataracts is not about a single miracle cure, but rather a combination of shielding the eye from damage and feeding it the specific nutrients it needs to repair itself. By incorporating dark leafy greens, vitamin C, and omega-3s, you build the internal structure of the lens. By staying hydrated and managing your blood sugar, you maintain the chemical balance of the eye fluids. And by blocking UV rays and toxins, you prevent the external damage that accumulates over time. Start with 1 or 2 of these changes this week. Perhaps buy a new pair of sunglasses or add spinach to your grocery list. These small, consistent actions send a powerful signal to your body and help preserve your window to the world. If you know someone over 50 who could benefit from this, share this video and subscribe for more simple health tips.